If you take a flower, in this flower there are petals, there are stamens, different parts. I don't want these petals and all these, I want only the flower. So if you take away each of the petal, this is not required, petals, no, these are not flowers, take away. Stamens, take away. Then where is flower? The totality of this is what you call flower. Another example, if you hold an onion in your hand and you take the outer layer, peel, this is not onion. Then there is another layer. Take, this is not onion. Another layer. Go on taking all the layers. Ultimately, there is nothing like onion. See? What you call onion is the union of all these layers. If you say, I don't want the layers, I want onion directly, you can't have. In the same manner, if you say, I don't want any connection with all the beings around me, I don't care for them, I want directly God. How can you? For such a person, it is impossible to get into God contact. Master said he has to wait some thousands of births before he can get this, because his ego is so strong. If you don't care for fellow beings and you say directly to God, then Master said God is more aristocratic than this such fellow. More aristocratic, because he is with such fellow, God will be always aristocratic. He will not allow this fellow to reach him because he doesn't care for others. Others are form of God. He cannot believe that. All the forms are forms of the God only. He doesn't understand, he doesn't believe all this, so he wants directly the God. Somebody has constructed a house, new house, and after constructing the house, he made all the arrangement of lights, fans, all the machines and all these things. Okay, but these lines and machines, the fans, lights, they will not work until you have an electric connection from the transformer, from the source. But this fellow said, I want to get electricity directly from the production house, from the powerhouse. I don't want all these intermediary things, this transform and these switches and these fuses. I don't want. Directly I want to connect myself. If you connect directly from the powerhouse to your house will be burnt. Our electric engineer will explain. Can anybody do that? If you want a direct line, directly when the turbine is turning and directly electricity is produced, put a direct line to your house will be burned because of the high electricity. So the electricity should be passed through a switch yard, where it is distributed properly, and from there it has to go through so many transformer and all these things, and then into your house also through the fuses and controls, and then you can have your light and all you can use. Otherwise all your machines, bulbs, everything will be blasted. In the same manner, if really you want to have only directly with connection with God, you cannot exist anymore. You cannot experience it. We should know that. So that is an aristocratic thinking, that's all. So, before the soul can express itself through the medium of personality, the personality has to be subdued, purified and dedicated to service. Only through service you can get over this. Through discipline, meditation, love and service. So this is what he is giving. What are the means for us to be able to reach, to experience the soul light, the soul experience. What are the, through which we can do that? That He is giving. Through, first is discipline. This is the very first thing. In the first step itself, it appears difficult for us. Discipline. We want to do so many things but for discipline we are not. It appears in the beginning very difficult. 6 o'clock prayer starts. You must be there before 10 minutes before 6. It is very difficult. We came running 1 minute, 2 minutes before prayer. So discipline is something not somebody imposes upon. You have to put yourself. That is the discipline. If discipline is to be imposed by another person, there will be conflict. So discipline, you have to put yourself, voluntarily by yourself, you have to put to discipline. Without discipline, there is no discipleship. See, the word disciple, who is disciple? He who submits to the discipline, he who follows discipline is the disciple. Simply by knowing about masters, simply by just praising them, we cannot be disciples. We cannot be called disciples. Discipleship is associated with discipline. Masters are well disciplined because they constantly follow the discipline. Somebody thought that when Master E.K. was doing prayer, somebody asked, why you are a master, why you have to do prayer? Then Master says that, because this question never arises for me, that is why I keep following this discipline. That is why you call me a master, otherwise you will not consider me a master. All the masters will follow discipline. They first follow the discipline, otherwise who will follow them? If master does not do prayer at 6 o'clock, then we also, when master is also not doing, we can also avoid. So we will avoid. We are always ready to avoid. So when we see master is not doing, oh, master is also not doing, we also, let us today skip prayer, let us today skip this and this. We try to skip away. Therefore masters, first they follow the discipline, and by following the discipline, they will influence the disciples to follow the discipline. That is the teaching. They put themselves as the example, always. So somebody asked Master, is it needed for you also to do prayer? Master said, yes, needed. Since you have come to a stage, then Master said there is no such stage. As long as you keep following the discipline, you will be like that. When you stop following, you will fall down. There is no such thing like a stage. It's because some people think that we have now come to a stage where we need not do all these things. But that is not true. Suppose there is a principal of a college. He makes all the timetable, fixes everything. And in this timetable, he also should follow this. If he says, since I made this timetable, I need not follow it, then nobody will follow. The other teachers or the students, nobody will follow because he is not following. He is the principal fellow. So he has to follow, then they will automatically follow because principal is following, we have to follow. Then without saying they will follow. This exactly is true at every level. With the parents and children also, if the parents are not disciplined, how can the children be disciplined? Master used to tell us, your children will only follow you what you do, but not what you say. We always think that our children should follow what we say, but they don't care. Very good observers. So he used to warn us, be careful. If you want your children should be in proper behavior, first you behave properly, you follow discipline, then they will follow you automatically. You need not tell them. Without following, if you say, you must follow discipline, they don't care. So this is true at every step. So discipline is most important. So in the eightfold yogic path also, what Patanjali has given, yama. Disciple. This is disciple. This is discipline. So the first step in the eightfold yoga is yama. Yama and niyama, they are the first two steps. Regulation and discipline. Without discipline, you have no yoga at all. When Master CVV said, you have to be in prayer by 6 o'clock, yes, you have to start at 6 o'clock only, first discipline. Whatever happens, if I do prayer at 7 o'clock, you can do. You are not forbidden. You are not prohibited to do it. You can do any time. But if you do 6 o'clock, you will be one with this master consciousness. You will have full advantage. So discipline most important. So that is what is explained here also. Through discipline, and second is meditation. Meditation. This is also one of the steps of the eight steps of the yoga. It is called jhana. Jhana in Sanskrit. Jhana means meditation. It is one step before samadhi. Jhana. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, jhana, samadhis. So jhana is one step before samadhi. So jhana in meditation means only the required experience is sustained and no other things, then it is meditation. The observer and the observed, everything merges into only one thing, then it is meditation. And samadhi is automatically attained when you reach this. Samadhi is not the last step of samadhi is not something we have to, when you practice this and attain this, then automatically it is there. So meditation, and then love and service. Without this, without love and service, the spiritual practice will be only a false thing. Love and service, we can most definitely perfect our personality. So this is all for the purification and perfection, attain perfection of the personality. For this, these are required: discipline, meditation, love, service. We can most definitely perfect our personality and make it the agent of the spiritual nature. Then the personality, when it is purified and subdued, then it acts as the agent of the spiritual nature. Then your behavior is a spiritual behavior. Only when the will to victory is present can the soul triumph. The soul can succeed only there you use the will. Will is there, but we don't use it. It is given to everybody. Will and the power of discrimination, these are all given to everybody, but we don't make use of these wonderful implements which are there in us. It is a prey temporarily to the rule of the physical and emotional nature, and dowered with mentality which initially hinders and imprisons, but which finally enlightens and liberates. So that is, this personality aspect is, what happens is, it is when it is not properly directed like this, temporarily it will be under the control of emotional nature. And due to that, there is a hindrance, there is an obstacle, and we feel imprisoned. The personality is imprisoned in the lower nature. So we have to use our will to elevate this, and that is possible through these steps, by discipline, meditation, love, service, and all these. These are the means, the instruments through which you can attain the stage where personality will become an agent of the spiritual light. The three primary aspects of the soul, now he is explaining about what are the primary aspects of the soul. There are three primary aspects of the soul. One is spiritual will. And spiritual love. And spiritual intelligence. Spiritual will, spiritual love, and spiritual intelligence. These are the three primary aspects of the soul. The spiritual intelligence is what is called wisdom. Spiritual wisdom. Other spiritual attributes and instincts, they are the sense of responsibility and of immortality and attraction to the higher, because there is naturally always, even though our personality is influenced by lower attraction, but inside always there is an effort to get out of this imprisonment because of the attraction towards the higher self. Without this, because if this is not there, its attraction towards the higher is not there, then it is not possible for our spiritual evolution. It is always there. So that is what the only thing is, if this is not made active, it takes more time. More time means more number of births. If you actively take this up, it can be possible even in this birth itself. That is what when you study yoga of Patanjali, or when you study Bhagavad Gita, study means not only study, but when you follow that, you will realize that what can take the time in so many births, it is also possible to reduce the necessity to wait for so many births. You can get into this experience even in this birth. So that is the advantage of entering into the yogic way of living. Other spiritual attributes and instincts are the sense of responsibility and of immortality, attraction to the higher, and group consciousness, the urge to progress, and personality control. There will be group consciousness is also very important. When gradually you are turned towards this inner journey, you can find yourself more in group consciousness. The soul carries aspiration and vision. What are carried by the soul, that is also given. The soul carries certain things, certain aspects. The soul carries the following things. What are these things? Aspiration and vision. Aspiration and vision. Inspiration and intuition. Inspiration and intuition. Illumination. Insight. And understanding. And it is the soul that confers certain powers. The soul confers upon us certain powers. What are the powers conferred by soul? The power to sense ideas. The power to sense ideas. Idea. Sense to power. Power to sense. The soul confers upon us certain powers. So what are these powers? One is sense, the ideas. That is one thing. To register reality, to register reality. What is reality? To react to music, that is also from the soul. To enjoy beauty, to enjoy beauty, color and harmony. Beauty, color and harmony. These are to be properly understood. Enjoying beauty means not just indulgence. It is not indulgence. We have to always make a clear understanding of this significance. Generally, the sensual indulgence we call enjoyment of beauty. That is not true. That is false. Because beauty itself, what you call beauty, is an expression of the on the higher side. But unfortunately, we attribute this to the form. What you attribute as beauty to the form is always changeable. This we have to realize. If only you see the form through the personality, if you call this beauty, then it is changeable. That is why there is always a change in the behavior and attitude of the people between themselves. Beauty is not a lower attraction. Beauty is an expression of suppose you see a flower, you see the you call the flower is beautiful. What is beauty? It is expression, a divine expression. That is beauty. If you feel that flower is beautiful and you take away each of the petal of the flower to enjoy the beauty, that is not enjoyment. It's distraction. If you don't realize this, then you will be subject to only attraction on the form, on the level of form. Then it leads to always a wrong or lower experience. So unfortunately we use these words beauty, love and all these things without knowing the significance. We use these words but only to denote something on the level of form and body level. But these are not of the form. Beauty, love, all these things are higher. They belong to the soul, not to the body. So, if you properly do not understand, then you behave in a different manner, and then it leads to sorrow, not to joy, finally.
Direct surf in the spring going to the mountains, where thousands and thousands of wonderful flowers.
Yes.
There are people taking these packages like not only 1, 10, 20.
Yes.
On the way back from the mountain, then you see the flowers.
Dropping away.
They drop, they deny.
Yes. So the human being, we have to realize what is the significance of these things. Awesome. Soul and its qualities. So the divine nature is also seen in the souls. In the soul, what you find is the divine nature, because soul is what we know as soul is the manifestation of divinity. It is manifestation of divinity. So the divine nature is also seen in the soul. Soul's urge to unity, because in soul always there is an urge for unity. In its planning, creative activity and idealism, in its knowledge, in all these things, you find an urge for unity in soul. When it comes down from the soul level to the lower levels, then you have the diversity. At the level of soul, there is always an urge for unity. When it comes down to lower levels from the soul, then there is diversity. So what you find is pure motive in the soul. Pure motive. And a response to God's plan. A response to the plan of God. Now we will know about the spiritual will. What is spiritual will, that we will see. Spiritual will, the first of the three primary aspects of the soul, because we have seen there are three primary aspects. What are these primary? Yesterday we have noted down. One is the spiritual will, another is spiritual love, and another is spiritual intelligence. These are the three primary aspects of the soul. So now we will know about the spiritual will. Out of the three, this is the first one. The spiritual will, the first of the three primary aspects of the soul, is active, intelligent purpose. The spiritual will, what is spiritual will? It is active, intelligent purpose. motivated by love. So this purpose motivated by love. So what is spiritual will? It is active, intelligent purpose motivated by love. Spiritual will, a reflection of the will of God. So what you call spiritual will is a reflection of will of God. In the morning invocation also, let purpose guide the little wills of men. The purpose which the masters know and serve. You see, we have to connect these to that invocation what we do. In great invocation. A reflection of the will of God. It is most powerful because it is the will of God. It is most powerful. It is not just like our individual will, but it is will of God. So it is most powerful. It is most powerful and a triumphant force. It is a most powerful and triumphant force. So unfailing, there will be no failure for this. It is most triumphant and powerful force in the world. In the whole world, it is most powerful. And a signal evidence of divinity in man. So this spiritual will is a signal evidence of divinity in man. Signal evidence of divinity. In man. Man means human being. The whole story of man's life is reflected in his will. The whole story of the life of human being is reflected in his will. Will, purpose and planning. There are three things. So will, purpose and planning. So the will of the whole story of man's life is reflected in his will, purpose and planning. So this will, how it is manifested in the beings, in the human beings is, first is the will to live. Because how we are existing in the form, in the frame, in this body, because of the will to live. What is the binding force that binds this soul and the body together? That is the will to live. If the will to live is disturbed, then the person will soon leave the body. Either due to a disease, because the will to live is distorted because of the disease and suffering. And the tendency to commit suicide is also because the will to live is distorted. That is the reason. As long as the will is strong, will to live is strong, you are adherent to the body, to the form. When the will to live is lost, that is the end of our life. So that is...
serious diseases that
Yes.
depends how much you apply.
Yes.
Coming over.
Why comes the moment when people don't want to live? Why and how is it? Is that because chronic illness for 5-10 years? So why people don't want to live? Why it's like it's the end of resource?
Yeah, it is because it is why the will to live is distorted is because when you make such conditions in the body where no more the inner light wants to continue, because it is just like, for example, when you are dwelling in a house, you can continue to live in the house only when you can maintain certain conditions, like some minimum cleanliness and some arrangement and these things. So if the house becomes rotten due to not taking proper care to have the cleanliness and all these things, if the house is stinking, continuously rotten and stinking condition, then naturally you feel that you have to leave this house to take other house. So in the same manner with the body also. If your body is rotten, then there is no, the will not continue to do in this, because you have always a possibility to choose a better one, a better house. Just like how you will choose a better house to live, in the same manner you have a better chance to have another body, a new body, another wonderful opportunity. So why should you want will be? So this will to live is destroyed because of these conditions.
Why I'm asking was a period when I was working with
Disabled people, yes.
And I see some of them have very strong will to live. Some of them not strong. But that people that do not have really strong will to live, they're living for a long time. They
Yes.
still, and for me
Yes, it is a... as long as the will is stronger to live in the body, definitely you are bound to the body. You will continue to live in the body. This is the main factor which binds us to the body to live, is the will to live. So this will to live is important for us to keep us continuing in the body. So it depends upon some people, even though there is any disability, even then, if they want to continue to stay, their will is stronger, they can live. There are certain people who can live. But some people, when it is not so convenient, then they think, why should I live in this? Have a new one. So it depends upon the decision of the individual, depending upon the degree of awareness of the consciousness. So the will to live, the propulsive driving motives which sets man's being functioning and carries him through the years are the will to live. Second is the will to love. First is the will to live. Second is the will to love. So will to love is the next higher degree of transformation. So first is will to live, then you will live in this body. But then it goes into the next step is will to love. So this is the transformation. So live and let live. See, there are two things. You can live and let live. That means let the other persons also to live, other beings. So when you will do it, when you have love to other. If you have love only for yourself, that is only will to live. But will to love, that means the love for yourself is turned towards love for others also. Then what will you do? You will allow the others also to live. Live, let live. So primarily we have will to live. That is why we live in the body. Then we develop will to love. And next to this is will to serve. So this love leads to service. So these are gradual steps of transformation. Will to live, will to love, will to serve. And then next is will to sacrifice. Still further step. Will to sacrifice. So that will is translated into these manifestations, these stages. So will to sacrifice and will to know. Will to know. Without this you will not make an effort to know what is the cause of all this. Will to know. These transformations may go on through many births, because when you attain human birth, immediately you may not have all these manifestations. First there will be only will to live. As we have discussed in earlier classes, after attaining the human birth, for some births he will be in individuality. So in that stage he has only will to live, but not other things are not still opened up, still not developed. So he has only will to live as an individual. When will to love develops, then he can raise from individual to the personality. Then he will have social life. Before that, some births will pass only in the first stage, in the individuality only. Then he knows only will to live for himself. Everything is for himself. And when will to live and then will to serve, this next stage. And then he starts, it is a stepping for group living, will to serve. And will to sacrifice much advanced. So then it is ready for to raise from personality to soul level. And will to know. What is to know? To know the higher cause, the cause of the existence, that is the Lord consciousness. And will to be, and will to create, will to progress, will to good, will to power. Power means from the higher. That light and love and power. So this is that power. Restore the plan on earth. So that power. Not power on the lower. Will to establish correct relationship. Will to establish correct relationship.
What is
After to be, and after that to create, and then to pursue, and to progress, and the will to good, and will to power, and will to establish correct relationship. Correct relationship, right relationship. The bringing of potentialities and purposes into manifestation is always done by use of directing, energizing will, working through the controlling mind. This directing will, when working through the controlling mind, then you have all the potentialities and purposes manifested. The spiritual will synthesizes conditions. The spiritual will, what it does, it synthesizes the conditions and stabilizes fulfills and overcomes. It stabilizes, fulfills, and also overcomes the obstacles. And also due to the spiritual will, we will be enabled to know, have the meaning and the purpose of our living. What is the purpose of living, that we will realize.
Not only making money.
No. The idea embodied by spiritual will is that of strong determination, unfallible determination.
But what time the last sentence?
The idea embodied by spiritual will is
The idea embodied by spiritual will is the unfailing determination and striving of ability to endure. The ability to endure, striving for ability to endure. Endurance, to endure. Endure. To endure. And also to wait patiently, to have patience, to wait patiently and to preserve intention in all circumstances. Preserve intention in all circumstances and difficulties. Will dynamically applied is the power by means of which the things are done, plans worked out. Plans worked out is the power by means of which things are done, plans worked out. Love and intelligence expressed. Love and intelligence expressed discipline applied